Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We are zooming in and focusing in a little bit more in depth in the qualities of a narcissist or a psychopathic relationship or an individual. A narcissist as well as a psychopath are cluster B personality disorder. And namely, it's typified by a inflated sense of self-importance or self-absorption by this person, meaning that they feel more important or superior to others, and then combined with a lack of empathy. And this creates a pathology, which means a disease or a disorder of the personality. And very much like you can talk about a liver disease, a blood disease, lung cancer, brain tumor. There are mental or personality pathologies as well, which are about the personality. And remember, your identity is based oftentimes on your belief of yourself. So I know that this is very vague. This is not something that you talk about in kindergarten or your family or, your grade school, your high school, your college. Maybe it came up, maybe it didn't, but your belief in yourself creates your sort of resonance, your trust, in what you hold to be true. And this oftentimes creates a vision for your future. And then likewise, the universe will respond in like to your sense of belief. And this might be new information, but basically your life will rise as high as your belief and faith in yourself. And oftentimes we're, taught to believe in the Savior. They call it Jesus Christ. They might call it Buddha. They might be Shinto. They might be Buddhist. You might be Muslim, but there is an acknowledgement of let's just call it an infinite intelligence, something which has an intelligence, which is, basically a lot of, which we don't understand, but it's the intelligence that can create water, that can create oceans, the intelligence that can create a tree, the intelligence that creates the sun, the moon, the stars. Basically, there's a divine intelligence which is beyond, but yet which resides in most people. And your belief in yourself, and according to your passions and what you are sensitive to and what you are interested in or get excited for and validate, this is your belief in yourself. And then the ability with which you can release blocks or obstacles then determines how much you go for things, whether you follow up, whether you are able to have the emotional resonance and calm within yourself, that support within, which is also known as self-esteem, not arrogance, but it is, your belief in self. And the narcissist, as we were stating, they have an inflated sense of self-importance, but it's on the outside only. So really what the problem is that deep within, they have a raging lack of self-esteem. And they need to inadvertently think that they have to overpower others in order to arrive at their goals. And so oftentimes this is involved with mistreatment of others in order to get what they need. So basically treating others as a doormat, treating others as just an object of utility to get them to move forward. So you feel a lack of acknowledgement, a lack of respect from these people. And there is this emotional detachment that you will feel from them. And it is this emotional detachment which oftentimes is replaced by the need to please them or serve them. And they then basically try to project or instill their needs into you and get you to identify with their needs rather than identifying with your needs. And this might seem very basic, but if it's done in an inadvertent way, by a narcissist or a psychopath who has no guilt really for hurting others or negating others, they don't feel a sense of regret or remorse or a pain where most people have what we call a humanity or empathy or compassion, which means if I made a mistake, I apologize, and then you're done with it. If you had hurt somebody's feelings or you had made a mistake, all people are not perfect, and so they make mistakes. And it's that, that taking advantage of empathy of others where you see the narcissist and the psychopath, where they will, they will overreact and say, negative validating things about you, which are not true, but that they assign to be true, and that they're superior, and that they know what is right. And, they have to be the one and only with the superior opinion. So you will oftentimes see this, and I'm just referring to some notes that I want to describe here. So basically, what I'm feeling is basically that they try to train you to jump off a cliff, in other words. So you have to be intelligent enough to say, no matter what is going on with all their negative talk about you, their shaming, their way to kind of what I call the negative water cooler talk, where they try to talk negatively about somebody in order to inflate themselves and make you to feel this undergirding shame. Realize that this is what they feel about themselves underneath, but it's a tool that they use to manipulate. So don't get caught up in that confusion. Don't get caught up in that experience. Don't get caught up in being so identified with them that you do not feel distinct or separate, and you tend to over-identify with their needs, because that's what the narcissist does, is they manipulate you to over-identify with their needs rather than embracing your own, so it feels wrong, or that you don't have the knowledge or experience or know-how to break free on your own and identify with your own needs and kind of live your own life. So to live your own life, that is the challenge, that is the healing journey, and that is to really disengage then emotionally, physically from these wounding and hurt people. And even if it's your flesh and blood, even if it's your spouse who you had committed to, in front of, your church, your congregation, your community, your closest friends, oftentimes, you do find people's true colors once you are in a relationship with them, and it can oftentimes become so dysfunctional that it cannot be tolerated or it cannot continue, especially when it comes with the lack of empathy, pathological lying, and denying and negating of your reality, to the point where you dissolve your sense of self-belief, and you then live in this self-doubt and this terror, in feeling like, well, what's going to come next? What is the narcissist going to bring on me next? And you can't support yourself. You can't support yourself financially, emotionally, physically. And we had a very interesting viewer who basically said, he continues to attract people with a lot of illnesses. And oftentimes, this can be an aftermath of being in a relationship with a narcissist, is a lot of these health issues that tend to go on because your emotions affect your physical reality. And the negative emotions of identifying with another can cause your body to basically turn on itself. And then you see this disease of the autoimmune disorders, where your body then is detecting your own tissues as foreign substance. So you see the lupus, you see the rheumatoid arthritis, you see the Crohn's disease, the fibromyalgia, the cancer, where the body begins turning on itself. And basically, with a lot of these autoimmune disorders, your body immune system is fighting off, which is meant to fight off diseases, viruses, bacteria, etc. That is your immune system. Like if you're having a cold virus, it says that's a hazardous bacteria. Let's get rid of that. That's the immune system. It fights off disease. Basically, what happens then is the immune system then begins to identify your own tissue as the invader. Do you see how the immune system then turns on itself, the very healthy tissues with which it's meant to protect? It turns around and begins to interpret your own healthy tissues as the invader. And then you begin to develop these, the lupus, the rheumatoid arthritis, the Crohn's disease, the fibromyalgia, a lot of these, cancers where the body is attacking itself. It's very, very, very scary. And Dr. Joe Dispenza has done a lot of work, the multiple sclerosis. He's done a lot of work with using the power of the mind and consciousness to work through and reverse a lot of these. It's very fascinating. But I furthermore want you to understand the seriousness in the no laughing matter of what it is to be in a relationship with a narcissist or a psychopath, and to help you have the gratitude and courage to break free and disengage. It's peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.